Welcome to our second lesson in Orchard Core. Today you will dive into essential concepts, content types and content parts. You will learn to define structured data within Orchard Core and explore the variety of content models available. A content type is a structured representation of a content. If you're familiar with data transfer objects or entities, you will recognize the similarity. Content types serve a comparable purpose within Orchard Core's content management framework. A content part, from the other hand, functions much like a base class or an interface in programming. It encapsulates a reusable set of fields along with their configuration. Content types can include multiple content parts, automatically inheriting the fields and the associated settings for each of the part. Okay, let's create our first content type. To create a content type, you have to select content, and then you have to go to content definitions, and under content definitions you select content type. In this screen you're going to see several content types that already exist in Orchard Core, and this is because of the recipe that we have selected on the setup, which is the agency recipe. That recipe creates a couple of content types for us by default. We're going to create our own content type, so you will find a create new type button in the corner, in the right corner, and we click that, and then we type our first content type. Let's say we want to represent a product in our website, so we want to create a product content type, and then as you notice there is two fields. There's a display name and a technical name field. Normally the technical name is being used for coding or tableting in Orchard Core, so it cannot have spaces between it. So if you have two words, if you have like products and something else within two words, you can have them on the display name, but you cannot have a space on the technical name. So let normally the technical name being generated by Orchard Core. This is the best way to avoid any errors. So let's create our content type. So the first thing that Orchard Core will ask you is if you want to add any content part for the content type. There's already several out-of-the-box content parts created from the Orchard Core team for adding them quickly and easily into your content. We're going to select the title and the preview button so we can preview our content type. The title will add different fields for generating a title. We'll see that later on. So we click save, and we just generate our first content type that's called product. So here's the technical name that you cannot modify anymore, and then that's your display name, and you can just have a description which is optional. And here there is a couple of checkboxes that determine what our content type can be within the Orchard Core. So do you want to allow users to create content types like product? You have to have it checked here. If you remove that, people will not be able to create records from within the product. Then you have the listable. If your product content type is listable, within the system in Nurture Core or not, if you can save draft versions of the content type, you have to have that checked. If Core will keep history of each version you're saving within there, that's called versionable, and you can restore back the different versions of those records. Just be aware that the more content types you have, keep them versionable, the bigger the database will become in the back. And if they're secureable, if they need custom permissions to be accessed, those content types, that's also what that determines. If it's a stereotype, and that is something you choose to type here. Normally we have different stereotypes of a content type. We can create a content type that is custom settings, that is a menu item, or is a widget. We're going to talk later on about those concepts in our later lessons. And then you want to have a couple of features on the search and some indexes. So you can say include display text on the search. So you can write search queries, and therefore we can just discuss this as search features definitely in later lessons as well. And here is this section where you can add fields on your content type, and in this section you can add parts on your content type. As you see, we already add the title content part. So let's go and edit the title content part. So each content part and each field have settings, and you can edit those settings and just look on it. So in the option, the title is editable. That means the user can modify the title on this record every time he wants to. So we can make it title is editable and required. So that means that always a program must have at least a title. Okay, and then it says if it wants to render the title, we just click check that yes, render the title please, and you can just put different specified parameters here or different editors. That's standard editor for title, there's nothing less, and then you can just click save. So let's go and add a couple of fields on a product. Let's think what is else needed for our product. So we want to have a title that's already in there. We would like to have a description for the product. So if we're going to add a new field, as you see there, again there's a display name and a technical name here. So we're going to say this is a description for a field, and then we want to define what kind of type of field this is. So there's different type of fields like Boolean, content picker, data field, and so on. So what we want to do is select HTML field, and that will allow us to type HTML in the field as a description and add different HTML sections for our product. Okay, and then we click save. You can see now under the fields we have the first field called description. That is an HTML field. We can also edit that. We can say what kind of editor we want to use in order to type HTML. So there's different editors that Core supports for creating HTML. I like the Trombone editor, which is a very useful and nice editor. I will check also to be able to insert media and URLs. And there's a couple of settings for the editor that we're going to look on a different time, not now. So let's save that, and then we have an editor for our HTML as well. And then we're going to add a new field. It's going to be is on stock. So if it's a better out of stock. So out of stock, obviously I can have spaces here, but I cannot have spaces on the technical name. That's auto-generated anyway. So out of stock field that marks that this product is out of stock. And we can have a Boolean field here that is out of stock. We can also have a price for our product, and this is price with VAT, with tax. So that can be a decimal field, it's a numeric field here, and then if we're going to edit this, we can say here what is a default value. If we want to have a default value, we're always going to have 0 as a default value on a product, and we can say how many decimal points. So we're going to have always 2 decimal points for the price, and we're always going to have required, so we want the price to be always required, and that is okay for a price with VAT. And we want to have a price without VAT, so price okay, and that's another numeric field. Again, is required. Scale is 2 decimal points. Default value is 0. We also want to have the VAT percentage that is chargeable, and that will be also numeric. And here we're going to have 0, so it's going to be an integer, and the value could also be by default 0. And sorry, I didn't put required as well here. So yeah, required. So okay, we have a description, a title, we have also out of stock, we have price and VAT. We want to have an image for our product as well, so let's add a product image, and this is going to be a media field. Okay, save that, and we can define what is a media field. We don't allow multiple medias to be added. We just have only allow media text, yes. Hint different options here. And that's an image. So we have a description, an image, the price with VAT and without VAT, the VAT percentage, and if it's out of stock, this product. So that's the record of our product, and this is how we're interesting to display the product or not. So you can add your custom fields yourself, and you can edit it. You can also make sure which one is first, which one is second. So what you need to do is just drag and drop the fields here. So you can just put image as a first, description as a second, the price, and then probably out of stock could be last actually. So that's the order. The title will come first because you have the rest of the fields under the title, under the part of the title, and then the preview button will come last in the form. Okay, let's see what we have created. So we're going to save this, and we're going to go back to types. So we will see that we have a content type called product here. So now we want to create a couple of records of our different products we're going to have in our website. So we're going to go to content items, which is content records, and we're going to create a new content item. Now, as you see, there is a name product available. So we will click that, and it will take us to a form where it's a new product. It will ask for a title, it will ask for an image, the description, which is an HTML editor, as you can see here, the price with the VAT, the price without the VAT, the VAT percentage, and if it's out of stock or not. Okay, so this is how we enter records. Let's create our first record. So our first product will be shoes. Okay. The title. We can upload an image here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload the image later on. I'm not going to upload it now. Description is my old style shoes. I can make this bold, and I can make it italic as well. And so you can see in the back is generating HTML. And then we have the price. The price will be 20.25. Without the VAT will be 18.25. And I guess 20% VAT, and we publish that. And here is, we have my shoes, that is a record. It's one of our products. As you can see it here, it's a product, and it's been created by me just recently, and we can edit it. It's a record already within our L02. And we're going to view now the record. Okay, so here is our first product record, the website. This is the title, my shoes, and this is the description. False means that it's not out of stock, and this is the prices here. Automatically L02 display using the current table, those things. We're going to look on the next lesson how we can template our product and we can make it look better. At the moment it's just for demo purposes. We can see on the current template how it looks like, and can go back and we can easily upload an image now and just show you the image functionality. Images are all centralized in Orchacore in a media library. You don't have to re-uploading the same image. You just upload it once and you can use it in multiple places. So let's go and upload an image. We have an image from shoes here. I'm going to open that and you see it's been uploaded on our tool, on our portal tool, and we just need to select it. And once we select it, you can see this blue label here that is been selected, and we click OK, and there you are. You have the image within your record there, and then you publish that. Now we're going to view again. Here is our image as well, displayed down. So yes, we can see all the records, but we do not like the way those things are displayed. This is just auto-generated by Orchacore at the moment, using the current template that is being generated. So we're going to show you to the next lesson how we can create a template for our records, our shoe records actually. So if we go back now and let's explore how we create a content part. A content part is, we go again to content definitions and we select content parts, and we can see we have out of the box a couple of content parts here. Again, we can create our own custom content part. Okay, so let's say if we want to stylize our products or any kind of content, we want to have a class property that is in HTML property that you can write style sheets, CSS style sheets. So we're going to call this with CSS, and we're going to create a CSS part, and we're going to add the field for the CSS. Well, it's going to be called CSS class, and it's going to be a text, and we want another field as a CSS style, and it's going to be text. And if we save that, we go to content parts, we will see with CSS. What that means is that every time we're gonna add this content part in our content types, they're gonna have these two new properties, the CSS class and the CSS style. So we can define CSS for our content as well, and we can do that in our product. So we can go down the content types of our product and edit the product here, and then our content type product, it will have a content part that is with CSS, and here we are. We are now adding also a CSS. We just move it back under the products. We're adding also a CSS properties for our product, and then we save that. And what we can see now, if we go to the shoe, is that we have other two properties that you can define a CSS class here and a CSS style here. Okay, so here's how you create content parts and how you can use them. You can use this content part in multiple content types in your system. And that is the end of our second lesson.